We're live?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustment. My name is Brian Miller. I'll be chairing the meeting today. Our first order of business is any pecuniary interest by any board member on any of the items today. We're live. I will take that as a no. Our first application today is A521 for a minor variance at 18 Cypress Drive. The applicant is Josephus and Catherine Sino, and the agent is Jamie O'Shea. And is Jamie with us?
He is.
He is now.
Hey. Good afternoon, Jamie.
Hello.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we're looking at 18 Cypress Drive, and what has happened here is there's a side door in this house and a step has been erected there, and it's a little closer to the lot line than is otherwise allowed. So they're asking to, I guess, from 5.75 down to 3.42 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we built this house back in 2019, and the individual that owns it went to the municipality to look for a building permit to finish his basement. And at that time, it was identified that the step that had been constructed was not in compliance with the zone bylaw because it was encroaching on the setback line of the 1.2 meters. So then we started out the process to get a minor variance to permit that step to be in place.
Where does this door lead to into the house? Is it to the basement?
It's a stairwell that has a common door to a great room, and then it goes down the basement into our basement area.
Okay. Any questions for Jamie? Bill?
Thank you. Through the chair to Jamie. So was that door there when the house was originally built in 2019?
Yes, it was. The door was on the original floor plans that were submitted for approval from the building department, as well as obviously they would have been on there for the planning side of it. However, at the time of permit, the grades were not fully identified. So basically, we didn't know that we would need a step at the side. So this is kind of, I guess you could say, a little bit of an afterthought for the step, as you might say, but the actual door was there as part of the permit process and was approved at that time.
Okay, so would that be a door that would be commonly referred to as a garage door?
No, this is behind the garage, so this allows you into the stairwell as well as into the great room of the house.
Okay, thank you.
So basically, it's just a side entrance.
The side of the house that is, I guess where that door faces, there's no windows in that side of that house, is there? From what I could see.
Just a sec, I'll look and see. I don't recall. It was a while back.
Okay.
So one sec, though, I'll look for you.
So coming out that door, if there's no windows there, it's not going to cause any issues.
So there's a window above.
Like on the second floor,
Oh, up that,
but
okay.
that's the only window.
Okay, that's fine. Any other questions? And I guess there's no one else from the public that's going to join us to comment on this. Is that correct, Mark?
I have a question through the chair.
Yep.
So the walkway was there? So the concrete walkway was there? And the door, just no step.
Is that correct, Jamie?
So on the original floor plans with that received permit approval, the door was in place. We subsequently constructed a step at the side of that house. And then the homeowner has installed the patio stone walkway, I guess, to it from his driveway.
Okay. Any other, Robert?
So, Jamie, you were the builder, that's correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, we did see a letter. I don't think it's in relation to this property, but something about driveways. Are you requiring driveways to be paved?
Through the subdivision requirements, I believe that's one of the covenants in the subdivision. Yes.
Okay, well, I guess that's on the next one. We'll address it there, but I just wanted to understand if that was actually,
No, I think it's on this one too.
is it? I thought theirs was paved.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't remember. So maybe, yeah, maybe it's on 22. Could be.
Okay,
Hard to tell with all this snow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Concerns? Okay, your thoughts?
I believe Mark said that there may be somebody in the public gallery who wants to comment on this. Sorry, Mark.
Yes. If you under the participants tab, if you look at attendees, you'll see Mr. Hassan and Ms. Clement both have their hands raised. I didn't know whether either of them are here to speak.
That's-
Please.
He's for the next one, is he not, for 22?
Yes.
We're dealing with 18.
Okay.
So is there anybody that wants to comment on 18 and from the public?
Not that I'm aware of for 18.
Okay. Having said that, your thoughts? Robert, you're moving that it be,
No, not moving yet. This is just discussion. So I'm reading the letters from the concerns of the neighbors that are there. I mean, I understand what they're saying. However, there really is no such thing as single family anymore in Ontario. You know, there was legislation that was kind of passed that you're allowed to have a secondary dwelling. And their point that they raised was that they purchased single family, which it is zoned as such. But now that zoning allows for secondary dwelling. So it's not something that I think we can say, well, how is it going to be used, and will it be used for the purpose of secondary dwelling, or would it have a future use as that? I'm not sure that that's something that we can consider as a negative, even though the neighbors are upset by that, right? I know they weren't able to participate, so I want to make sure we're discussing their letters for them.
right? So I think we're, and Greg can correct me on this, I think we're only dealing with whether the step is allowed there or not. What they're using the house for otherwise, I think, is another issue. Is that correct, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I think Robert has the right idea when he says that there's really no such thing as single family in Ontario anymore. I mean, provincial direction has been that we are to allow second units in single family dwellings. So really the only relief that's being requested in this case is the distance to the property line from the step, and that would be a factor regardless. It's just something that wasn't picked up at the time.
Okay. Any, Glenn?
Yeah, through the chair. Again, I think that the report, the staff report pretty much lays it all out in terms of addressing each of those concerns. And I just want to support not to, not address the concerns that are being raised, but we're talking really here about a setback for the stairway and what's there. And so I think that's the matter that's under consideration here, although I think that it was great that the staff report went into the details about affecting the neighborhood or additional suites, et cetera, that are all permitted. So staff are recommending approval. I will certainly support this. So, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Chris?
Just a comment, because, and it's mostly, I guess, a concern from a planning point of view. Most of these houses are, I don't want to just say cookie cutter, but if they have a side entrance, it would be on the adjacent house wouldn't have their door on this side of the house. It would be on the opposite side.
Yeah.
But you see so often as subdivisions evolve, the neighboring house is going to put up a little shed up against their house, in between these two homes. And now you're obstructing the walkway through there. The planner had a good comment as well that this side step should have access to the backyard. I don't think it does right now. That was Thomas Deming, that the step should have a pass through like it's shown on the drawing, but in the picture that showed up, you had a picture up, Greg. It looked like the stair did not go through to the backyard. Well, that one does. Oh, it was the picture in the package that we got.
Was that the picture for 22 or 18?
That picture there,
Yeah, there's 18.
that's 18.
No way to the back there.
No. Is that a requirement, Chris, or is that, I know you said it's a suggestion, but this isn't right to the edge of the property line. They still have the ability to walk past it and get into the backyard
No,
without.
it is. It's 7 inches to the property line.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So what you're saying, this step should have
Stairs going to the backyard as well.
Modification.
So no back railing there.
okay, that's what I was thinking.
Planner Thomas Denning recommended in his comments. And that there should be a requirement that no further expansion of this deck be allowed. You can't enlarge it. I think that was in one of the comments I read.
Yes, I did read that. So,
Well, it says right in the report, this, the subject land is currently developed with a single detached building, but it has since been discovered that side entrance functionally needs an unenclosed porch and steps in the required interior side yard setback. So I'm assuming that means they're also going to put steps to the backyard. We can also make that a condition of the approval if we so choose to do so. And that's, I think I would agree with Chris that if we are only 7 inches away from the property line, somebody decides to put a fence up there in the future, it's not even a shed. It's if somebody decides to put a fence on the property line, or if they decide to erect a mutual fence, and they're both good with that, you have no way to get into the backyard from that side entrance. And
so basically, the back railing shouldn't be there. There should be steps down to the backyard.
It shouldn't be there as long as there are steps that go to the back. Otherwise,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Good point, Chris. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Do we have?
Brian,
Yes.
I just to make a comment on record, like, I don't want to discount the heartfelt sentiments of the neighbors, right? Like, but does somebody get back to them and say, we appreciate your comments. However, this committee met just specifically like we discussed on the variance, and do we send a letter to that regard? Like, I don't want to discount all the effort they've put into responding as we had hoped, right?
Greg can maybe answer.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a standard process for getting back to people on those comments.
Okay.
Ultimately, because the meetings are posted online and they are a public forum. I mean, if the committee would like, we could certainly send a note back just to advise that the matter was considered, but there's not a formal process for that.
I mean, they obviously put a lot of effort into an objection, and that's what we're trying to encourage people to do by this whole process, right? So it's just recognition.
Jamie, did you have a question or comment?
Sure, just sorry through you to with regards to the access to the rear yard, obviously there's still access on the opposite side of the house of the 1.2 meters. So we're not opposed to adding steps to the back of the landing that's proposed or there. But obviously just bring that to your attention. There still is access on the opposite side. And like one of the other comments was made is that if somebody decides to erect a little shed or something there, or puts a fence up and has a gate type thing, it's access to the rear yard is going to be limited anyway. So just a point of clarification.
Okay, Robert.
Yeah, I just wanted further to Sue's point. Sue, that's why I wanted to bring it up so that they could watch this later and see that we have at least addressed their concern and acknowledge that. But also, I don't know if you saw just before the meeting, Greg forwarded us an email which had a chain from Councillor Sanderson as well as Councillor Carr, where they did address those issues and emailed that person back. I don't know about the secondary letter, but the person who reached out by email to them, all of those concerns were addressed by Councillor Sanderson.
I did not get a chance to read the complete email, so thanks, Robert.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bill,
Thank you through the chair. Yeah, you guys had your hands up before me, so I wasn't able to jump in and share that with you. But I still think it would be, so two things before I lose the thought. One, in terms of the entrance, we should make it a condition that, I think we should make it a condition that there's flow through steps to the backyard. I understand that, that there's maybe access to the backyard from the other side of the house. But if somebody were to come out that door, they'd have to come down the steps that are currently there and then walk around the house to get to the backyard.
Yeah.
So that doesn't seem too practical. And I think the other thing, by making it a condition, I think it puts the next door neighbor, hopefully it puts them at ease in terms of, nobody's going to cut across their yard to get to the backyard. And also picking up on what Susan said, I think in this case, this is an unusual situation. And if we're going to see more of it, I think it would be appropriate for the city to send a formal response to Ms. McFarland, who's taken the time to, as earlier mentioned, write a fairly detailed list of concerns that not only she has, but also, as Susan mentioned, has been shared with her neighbors as well. So I think in this case, I'd like to ask that we do that as well.
okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so do we have a mover? Robert
I
and
would like to move, can I specify it though? I'd like to
Yeah.
move and in the condition that they put a staircase that goes towards the backyard as well to accept their application.
okay, do we have a seconder on that? Chris? Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, our next application is A621 for minor variance at 22 Cypress Drive. The applicant is Saeed Masood Hassan. And again, Jamie O'Shea is the agent. And I guess from what I see here, this is the same situation that we just discussed. Same look, same thing. Is that correct, Jamie?
I think Jamie was.
Yep, I just gotta bring him back into the meeting as for this particular.
By the look from what I can see, we're looking at the same situation.
We just have both Mr. Hassan and Mr. O'Shea joining again for this application. They should be in the meeting now.
Is Mr. O'Shea?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, this is the same situation as 18, correct? The step?
Jamie, it's directed at you.
Jamie?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Is this
Yeah.
the same, this 22 is exactly the same as 18?
Yeah, the house is exactly the same.
And the door
And it's
and
the same situation.
same situation, exactly.
But
Okay,
the
Yeah.
exact-
again, it doesn't have a flow through step either. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think honestly, the pictures you have on 18, I believe the stairs flow through. But on
This is
no, sorry,
22.
22 it flows through. On 18
Yes.
it does not. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
exactly the same situation. So as far as the flow through thing, that's already
addressed
looked
that.
after, so.
Yeah.
And the distance and all that's exactly the same, correct?
Yes.
So, okay, is Mr. Hassan, is he with us?
Yes, I am.
Do you have any comments?
Not at the moment. I mean, we just, as I said, this has been like this from the very beginning.
I couldn't hear you, sir.
You can't hear me?
No, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, no, I just said that this has been part of the plan from the very beginning, and essentially, here we are.
So basically, we're just looking at the same thing as we looked at a minute ago. So all the same issues, I think, are there. So, Robert?
There is one extra issue. So this one is the one that has the unpaved driveway that the neighbor across the street brought up. And Jamie did basically say earlier that there is a requirement. My question is more for Greg. Is this a city enforceable requirement, or is this just something that the builder said, hey, make sure you just do this as a courtesy?
Greg?
I'm sorry, the requirement for the steps to carry on down the
No,
back.
sorry, this is in relation to I'm bringing up the point that the neighbor wrote in the letter, just so the neighbor has that answered, about
Okay.
the driveway that is unpaved.
Oh, right,
his
yes.
property. Yeah, and there was apparently a builder requirement to have it done within 2 years. And my question is that city and like, can the city enforce that, or there's no requirement to pave driveways, is there?
No, I mean, larger commercial or multi-residential developments do have a requirement for paved driveways. In terms of single or two-family dwellings, there's not a specific requirement. So the driveway needs to be of a proper surfacing, whether it's asphalt or gravel. They couldn't just park on the grass, but the city does not specifically require the driveways be paved for this type of use.
Okay, thank you. I
It
know
does
it's not
have
in
gravel,
direct
just-
relation to what we're talking about, but it was brought up by a concerned neighbor. I wanted to make sure we addressed it for them.
Jamie, is it, and when these houses were built, is there something in the contract that the builder paves the driveway, or is that something that's left up to the homeowner?
So it's sorry, through you. It's a restrictive covenant that's put on the subdivision by the developer, but it's ultimately could be the responsibility of the purchaser or the builder, depending on how the contract's structured with the customer. It is our practice as Doran, we do not offer paved driveways through the contract process, because we will like the clients to take care of that on their own.
Okay. All righty.
Just a comment on my behalf as the owner of the 22. The plan is there. We started the talks with the Trenton Paving, but they said that they were all fully booked. So therefore, now we are scheduled to have a date from them for this year, exactly, 2021. Yeah, so this year they're supposed to notify us with a date of when they will be able to do it.
So that issue is going to be looked after in the spring then?
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Good. All right, any other questions, concerns? Bill?
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair to, I guess, to Jamie. The step by the door, what's in our package on page 29 is actually a pictorial of, it's identified as 22 Redwood Drive. And so I'm just wondering if you can clarify that it will be the same as what we've agreed to for number 18.
Yeah, we can agree to put steps off the back, that's fine.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question, Bill? I know on the picture it says 22 Redwood Drive on the bottom corner, but it's actually 22 Cypress Drive is a house. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah. But as long as Jamie is going to ensure that it's the same configuration as 18, I think we're okay.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, I take that as, do we have a mover then? Bill, seconded by Sue. All in favor? Thank you. All done. Good. So our next application is an application for consent B121 at 950 Casey Road. The applicant is Ione Gerald and the agent is Keith Watson. And is Mr. Watson with us? Thank you, Jamie. I think. Oh. We there?
Mr. Watson is joining. Mr. O'Shea has been change his role back to attendee, so he can hear you, but he can't talk.
Okay. Okay, so Jennifer, do you have any comments?
No, I'm just here on behalf of Keith. He wasn't able to make it today to answer any questions that the committee or any members of the public have on this application.
So we're severing off a lot there. And I had a question, like on the drawing, there's sort of an odd piece between the existing lot and this new one. Is that a driveway or what is that?
No, it's just going to be an opening right now. Right now, there's a barn in there. I'm not sure if you can see that. The barn's to be removed, but we're making, because it's a surplus farm dwelling, it's our understanding that we're supposed to make it as small as possible to take in the existing services that go with the house. So that's what we've done, made it the minimum size.
Okay. So it's basically a driveway of sorts.
No, there's no driveway in that space there.
Okay.
You see where, yeah, you can kind of see it's a little bit blurry on the sketch there, but there's about 23.3 meters between the two houses. That will be just, there's a barn there now. There might be a little bit of an entrance, but it's not going to be used as an entrance for that.
Okay. Right. Hey, that was the question I had. Anybody else have any questions, concerns regarding 950 Casey Road? It has to be rezoned, I understand.
Yeah, I think, yep.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Nobody else from the public wishes to comment on Casey Road? Take that as a no. Okay. Glenn, you moving?
I'll move it for approval. Yep.
Robert, second that. All in favor? Done. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, moving right along. Our next item is the confirmation of the minutes of January 14th. And Chris, are you moving?
Yep, I'll move to accept the minutes.
And seconded by Sue. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Accepted, thank you. Correspondence, and maybe Greg can just enlighten us on this. It looks like that there's an adjustment to the phase 9 of the Potter's subdivision there, and there's adding a little bit of land to the existing lot. Is that correct? Greg can't hear you.
You're muted, Mr. Pinchon.
Sorry, I'm used to not being muted. Anyway, yeah, the committee had previously approved a lot addition to add a portion of the adjacent lands onto the Potters Creek phase 9 subdivision holdings. And in response to public input, they are proposing to reconfigure it a little bit. And as a result, they would like to add just a small adjustment to the boundary of the previously approved lot addition, which would amount to really squaring up what's being proposed and adding it onto the adjacent. So it's a fairly minimal change in land area, I think, at the north end of what was previously proposed.
Is this increasing the number of houses that will be on this, or they're just reconfiguring the whole concept?
It's a reconfiguration, really. I think one of the big things is they were proposing a higher density apartment block further south, and now they're proposing to move that further north away from existing development. And as a result, it's reconfigured the site a bit.
We need a little more space. Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so no one wishes to comment from the public on that. So, do we have a mover, or Robert, are you moving that it be approved?
Yep.
Seconded by Bill. All in favor? Done, thank you. Hey, and okay, any other business anybody has? Robert?
I think we should take up a collection and buy a lamp for Sue so we can see her.
Lamp.
You know, she's always waving her finger and she never gets to get a motion.
I got a lamp.
Okay, if there's no other business, then our next meeting is March 18th. And will anybody know at this point that they will be away or not attending?
So far, so good.
Okay, good. And okay, if you have no other questions, comments, concerns, then we will ask for an adjournment.